Hey guys, welcome back to the Property Panel Podcast. You got myself, Jalen Hardcastle, here with co-host Josh Story, and today we're going to be talking about how to invest and tips to use when investing. But today, before we go over that, what do you think our sponsors?
Yeah, I'd like to thank our title sponsors for today's episode. Big shout out to Collier Title Company. If you need deed prep, title work, closings, and more, they're located in Brandenburg, E-Town, and Louisville. You can call them at 270-763-6589. And then for this week's sponsor, We Buy Houses, we can give you a cash offer and close in as little as 2 weeks. You can give us a call at 270-945-7189 or 270-945-5416.
Thank you for that, Josh. And if you or anyone you know would like to be a weekly, monthly, or yearly sponsor, you can give us a call at one of the numbers Josh had mentioned, or you can give our office number a call at Cedar Hill Properties at 270-422-1331. And that is 100 weekly, 300 monthly, and 3,000 yearly. And you're advertising our intros, outros, as well as intermission, as well as all social media platforms. And we're getting back on the grind, starting to post, weekly, I think a couple times a week on each platform. So you will get your money's worth. And I think we've actually had quite a bit of success from past weekly ads where they've actually got call-ins. And we've actually had a couple that have offered us like little codes. So you could use, Property Panel as your discount code and get like 10-15% off. So we will be working with that in the future. And we actually got a giveaway coming up on TikTok. Once we reach 100 followers, I think we're about at 50 now. So once we reach that 100, we're going to do some merch giveaway for Property Panel, Cedar Hill Property shirts. So,
Yeah, it's a free way to support, anyway, but also you're getting signed up for a giveaway. So if you don't mind, go ahead and check us out on TikTok. Just Property Panel Podcast. A like and a follow goes a long way for us. But if you're on anything else like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Facebook, go ahead and follow and give us a like. It's just a free way to support. But we're trying to get out on all these platforms, and we appreciate any growth you guys help us with.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure next week is the fair when this is coming at you. I'm going on vacation next week, so we're doing a couple in a row here. That might be why you see us in the same clothes. We're not dirty, I promise. We change. We shower at least once a week. So we are going to be at Meade County Fair. It's one of the best fairs in Kentucky, so come check us out. We'll have the booth set up. We're going to have a Plinko wheel for
Lots of
free
items.
prizes, and you're actually going to be able to put your name in a drawing. I don't know if we're doing cash or TV like we've done in years past, coolers.
Something good.
Yeah, cash is king. I think we might be doing cash. I don't know, but at least stop by, get some free merch, prizes and whatnot.
Are we allowed to win that? Can I put my name?
Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to win it as much as I would just love to. I'd pull my name out every time.
Yeah, I put my name in 10 times. But yeah, I guess we're going to start with today's episode. If you're ready, how to invest. There's all kinds of different types of investing, but Jay, you want to kick us off with that one?
Yeah, so basically this is we're going to give you some tips to invest, but this is more of like kind of a mental side of things, because without positive thinking and without, just having that right mindset, you're not going to ever succeed in what you do. And especially in investing, it's mentally draining. It's a, high and low game. It's a roller coaster. And like we talked about last week, when it rains, it pours. So you're either doing really good or you're doing really bad, and just trying to get by sometimes. And it takes a while to get over those humps to start to see a little bit of, constant incline. But, basically, if you're looking to make a change in 2025, you came to the right place. I think me and Josh are going to give you some good tips, tricks, and what have you in today's episode that'll help you learn for the future.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of ways to do it, whether it's from passive income to flips to just buying your first house. A lot of good ways to go about it. Lots of good ways to start. I think for me, one of the better ways to start would probably be a live-in flip, if you could possibly do that, because you could either sell that and make that cash, or since your mortgage payment's lower, maybe you could rent it out or use that as leverage for your next investment, your next flip, or your next rental. So if you haven't purchased a home yet, that might be your first step. Like I said, whether it's a live-in flip or if it's just your first home, I think that's a good place to start.
Right, and your goals don't have to be necessarily real estate related, especially if you're already kicking ass in real estate. I've talked to a few different other people just kind of trying to prepare for this episode, and I've also noticed that some people, their goal for 2025 is just to spend more time with family and friends, to spend more time traveling, and doing whatever that they want to do. Not necessarily working, but also you need to have that playtime too to make it beneficial, and you need to reap the benefits of what you sow. So if you're doing really well, you do need to, kind of give it to yourself and give yourself what you deserve to not kind of
Right.
get burnt out.
Free time, whether that free time's being spent with friends and family, whether it's being spent for travel, uh, or with your kids, however it may be, I think that's a good way to set your goals. It's not just about money. It's about what you can do with that money or, with your investments to kind of free up your life and hit different goals, not just
Right.
money goals. So.
Right, and I feel like this episode we might have to do one kind of close to the New Year's because it might hit at home with more people. Whenever we say, "Do you want to make a change in 25?" And I think a lot of people are like, "Why are we talking about this? It's July. We're not even halfway over. Just halfway over with 24." But really, if you want these goals to come to fruition, you need to start looking that far ahead. You need to keep your eyes up and your nose down, and you need to keep on that trace of the smell of where the money's coming from and where your work's coming from because it is important. And I hear all the time people are like, "I want this next year to be my pivot year. I want to sell, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 million. I don't know how much you want to sell, but this is going to be the year for me." And I think people kind of get overloaded. And like we talked about, they don't have the right expectations for their experience, and they need to understand that, your changes need to be made with small scale strides as well. A change in pace, nothing major, not
Right.
necessarily changing your whole life around, which that it might take that sometimes, but in most cases, I think those small, constant changes create a domino
I
effect.
think people undervalue the small changes because they're trying to get rich quick, or they don't think that they want to get rich quick, but they think it comes easy. And part of that comes with, like you said, incremental goals. Like you do want your long-term goals, but just even day-by-day goals. Like I want to get these tasks done. That's really how you build it up. You start making progress, and with that and consistency, that's how you hit these bigger goals. But you got to make those small strides. You got to build yourself up slowly. You don't start at the top of the tower. You start at the bottom and work your way up. So.
Yeah, and you constantly stack, and they like to call that your stack. Start your stack. And if that's what you want to do in 2025, start the motion now. Obviously we all have like a 5-year goal. That's a good thing for people to have and where you want to be in 5 years. But also you need to have those smaller goals. Like from a 5-year plan, you need to have what you're going to do on each year. What is your yearly goals? And then what are your monthly goals? What are your daily goals? And what are your, hourly goals? What are you constantly doing to reach that 5-year plan? Because if you're not always looking up, like I said, keeping that forward momentum, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, I think a good comparison to that, to your business and your, your business dealings goals is similar to, working out goals. Like if you just think that you're going to hit the gym 1 hour every day, first thing in the morning, you might say, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow."
Right.
But no, you should start today, and it doesn't have to be an hour. You don't have to go in there and just go on a walk. Like, that little step, I'm doing it today. I'm going on a 10-minute walk. Then that, keeps that momentum going. Don't start with your 2-hour workout because then you're going to burn out in the first week.
Right. And then just like, maybe not set an strenuous goal for yourself. Like you said, resolutions don't necessarily work. When everyone does those New Year's resolutions, they're always like, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and they fall behind, and it just gets harder and harder to do. Like you said, just constantly build yourself day by day. Maybe you want to get to an hour walk a day. Well, start out by doing a 10-minute walk, a 5-minute walk around the house or what have you, and then each week, up it a minute or two or up it 5 minutes, and then eventually in a couple months you'll be doing, an hour walking a day, and it'll seem like no time has passed.
Right. And if that day comes and you say, "Oh, well, I don't have time for that hour walk." Well, a 10-minute walk's better than none. And I think a lot of people, not just working out, but in real estate or investing, "Oh, I can't get that flip today." Well, then I'm not going to do anything.
Right, yeah. They're not making the correct and good
Right.
decisions to stay on task, and you constantly need to reevaluate yourself. Like we talked about, even our daily goals, we reevaluate those about noon, lunchtime, and then we reassess and we hit it hard again. It kind of gets us rescoped and revamped for the middle part of the day, just like we should be doing on our yearly goals, reevaluate at 6 months or month per month and stuff like that. And then I think a lot of our goals are just not specific enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, like we said, we don't want to over exaggerate ourselves and, expect more than we can actually provide for ourselves. But at the same time, we don't have specific goals. Like what do you want to make this year? And let's be realistic about it, or
Right.
what do you want to work out this year? Let's be realistic about it. Obviously I would love to go be a bodybuilder. I'd love to work out an hour or two a day and get swole like Hulk, but that's not going to happen. And that's not a realistic goal for me. Something, like I said, for me would be, going and walking for, 10 and 20 minutes a day here and there, and maybe doing it twice a day and fitting it in that way. But there's so many ways to get to the end of the puzzle or the end of the maze. and you got to do what works for you, but make the goals realistic.
Right, and you got to have a plan, you know, and you know, I think write it out. And plans change, so you don't have to marry that plan. You know, you could change that plan the next day, but really write it out. Come up with something specific. You know, 5 years out, 1 year out, month out. Work your way back from that 5-year goal. If that 5-year goal changes, that's cool. But at least, you know, you've got a plan. You're working towards that plan. But you got to write specific goals.
Like you said, that plan, and you got to follow through with the plan, because I think a lot of these newer agents and this newer generation especially are not really taking action, you know, and that's what you got to do. And we talked about discipline over motivation last week. Obviously, you know, it's nice to have motivation. It makes things a lot easier, but at the end of the day, nothing gets it done like discipline. If you discipline yourself, you're going to succeed and have everything else a little easier off as far as motivation goes. It's going to be easier to motivate yourself because you're actually, you know, going to do it whether you're motivated or not, you know.
Right, and motivation's temporary. I mean, you could wake up one day, you know, maybe you got some great news. Maybe, you know, you're having a kid or whatever, and that really gets you motivated and going, but that only lasts so long. And discipline kind of keeps you in that pocket. You know, when you wake up some days and you just don't feel like going or you don't feel like doing it, but still doing it, that's really how you ultimately get there. And,
right.
But then you'll have those days where it's just easy and you have all the motivation in the world. And so, you know, plan on good habits, plan on discipline.
Especially
and
starting young, because it's a lot easier. Like, I think we've all heard this saying, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, you know. So if we start young and start disciplining ourselves, you know, I think it's the best possible potion for success. You know, but even like we talk about in real estate, it's ups and downs. You know, even starting young, it does make you more emotional. And it makes it tougher to start out. Because we're not as financially stable, and this is a tough game to get started in, you know. So people are going to give up, and we almost gave up ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, no matter what age or circumstance, everybody has excuses, and those excuses can be valid, but ultimately you got to push through that. Like, you know, starting young definitely benefits, and I'm sure the older crowd would say, well, you know, it's great you're starting young, or I don't want to do real estate or investing because, you know, I'm 40, I got kids, which that is true. But, you know, I've seen people, you know, 40s, 50s go from, you know, nothing really built to building it in later on in life.
Yeah.
So it's
not out of the question.
Yeah, it's not out of the question. It might be different obstacles, you know, being young. You know, in some circumstances we might not be taken as seriously, or we might not have as much built. So it's, you know, different that way. But, you know, everybody has their own pitfalls, but you got to overcome those. And I think no matter what age or circumstance, you can really set your mind to something, you can make it happen.
Right. I agree. And another thing that I would avoid, and a lot of this kind of sounds like it should have been on last week's episode, but, or the week before actually, but, you know, don't buy unnecessary things, you know. I think that's another thing that especially newer generation's been doing, because, you know, everyone's got to have the new shiniest car, the shiniest shoes or watch or whatever, best phone.
Name brand.
And it's not necessary, you know. I think it was Bill Gates would still ride around in his, you know, old Honda Civic or something like that around town. So it's just funny to see what these millionaires do. You see some of the richest people in normal people clothes just driving old whips and, you know, just living a simple life.
It's just not buying unnecessary things. And, you know, that goes for a lot of stuff. Like, I hate to get back to workout stuff, but, you know, you don't need all these fancy weights. You don't need the Peloton. You don't need the treadmill. You can go run outside. You can do push-ups. You can do sit-ups. I've seen people get in phenomenal shape just doing body weight. No weights. So it's how you know, take your situation and what you do with it. You know, you can make, you know, anything happen with anything. So,
and then another point to kind of staying looking forward and staying on the grindstone is, I think people miss out on not looking for the right opportunities or the right deals, and they're not setting themselves up for success. You know, or you see them come in kind of watching their YouTube or the Netflix, or, you know, what other these people are doing, cricket in or whatnot. You know, I'm not saying that I'm always doing the best in here, but if work needs to be done, it's done.
We're giving our best advice that we might not always follow, but you know, not looking for the right deals.
It's like with golf. Everyone always tells you whenever you're golfing, I don't know how to do it, but I could teach you.
Right. I know how to swing, but I don't know how to actually, you know, follow through with it. But not only just not looking for the right deals and opportunities, but sometimes people get presented with deals and opportunities, and either they let fear-based decision or doubt allow those opportunities to pass, and you get, you don't get that opportunity anymore. So when you do see an opportunity come across, don't be scared of it. Sometimes you got to, jump off that ledge and go for it. But yeah, um, opportunity can come in a bunch of different forms, whether it's a business opportunity or an opportunity to, spend time with friends or whatever it may be. Take those opportunities when you get them. Sometimes I see a lot of people that I know have let these opportunities pass. And I wish they would have taken them. I wish they wouldn't have made a fear-based decision and not go for that opportunity. But what are you thinking?
There's lots of opportunity, especially in real estate. And you are who you hang around. So if you want to be a millionaire, you might as well hang around 5 because you might be the 6th. But if you want to be a loser, then go ahead and hang around 5 because you'll be the 6th.
Yeah.
And I think people just try to over expect themselves. That's the main thing of it. You got to be positive, and you got to know that you can make it through things, because you could do anything. But at the same time, you need to make realistic goals and expectations to keep you motivated and disciplined, and those small goals will help you, like that domino effect.
And you got to be, expect to struggle. I mean, struggle is going to come in every part of your life. So, don't let that take you down. But at the same time, be proactive. Like I set a checklist for what I'm going to do every morning. Mm-hmm. I get that checklist done. I don't just stop. I add to it.
Right.
Be proactive. What can I do next? What's the next thing that I can accomplish today to better my goal? Be proactive, set goals, and take action.
Know your why. Know why you're there. Know why you're investing. It's not just for the money. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your team. Just be more open-minded. And, I think obviously get committed. I think a lot of people aren't all the way fully committed. They think everything sounds good and dandy, and it's like, yeah, that sounds nice. Money sounds nice. But the commitment's a real thing, and commitment looks different from different people, like we talked about, and different partnerships that could possibly happen. Who's to say your partnership might look the same as our partnership with someone else? It could be so many different ways, but as long as we're all happy and we're all managing together, that's the main thing. We always see each other go up.
Yeah, and then I think a good way to set your goals is, one, I think you need the 5-year goal. Mm-hmm. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And then you kind of, in my opinion, you work backwards from that. So then you maybe set your 1-year goal, every year up until that 5-year, even quarter goals for that 1 year. So you kind of work your way backwards, even your day-to-day goals. Doing that and doing it consistently, I think, is a good way to do it. But really giving yourself a timeline, giving yourself a plan. Like I said, plans can change, so you don't have to be set to it, but it's good to have.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, those 1-year goals, reevaluate 5 or 6 times throughout the year. You got quarter 1 goals, close those deals, stay on track, do laps, continue this race. Act like I said, keep your head up. And maybe racing is kind of drilled into my brain. If you're looking back, you're always going a little slower. So you always want to keep that head forward, thinking forward, being positive, and pushing as hard as you can. So you just keep on doing those laps, keep on making those rounds, keep on making those calls, searching the internet, searching the MLS, searching those Zillows, those realtors, those Trulias, those Facebook pages, find those for sale by owners, those off-market deals. And if you can't find them, I can.
Yeah, and if you don't find them one day, don't give up. I mean,
yeah, don't give up. People will be like, "Oh, it ain't nothing."
It might take you 10 tries to find the one thing.
We've showed people houses for months, years, years even, but we'll find the house for you when it's the time is right, and it'll fall into place when it's right.
Persistency, just like we were saying. Like a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, a Michael Jordan, they're not just that good at basketball.
Right.
They shoot 10,000 shots a day, and I guarantee you they miss half of them. So, you got to keep consistent, keep, hitting that goal, keep hitting those tasks, and you'll get better. You'll get some success, you'll get some opportunity, but you're not going to get it if you give up.
Right. I totally agree with you. And, become the investing pro you want to be. Build your wealth and build yourself.
Right.
And build your family. And build those around you. I don't think a lot of people are very knowledgeable in what real estate has to offer and the opportunities it presents within itself. I can't talk, but people are like, it must be nice, because they think that we're just sitting here doing this podcast or sitting here on our computer. They don't see us grinding until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, showing hundreds of acres, showing 5, 6 houses to one buyer, and then you
Right.
got 6, 7, 8 other buyers on the line. So you got to. There ain't enough days of the week to show all these houses, essentially, you know. So it's good to have a good
Yeah.
team around you that you can bounce off of each other and know that you have support when it's needed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see the hours put in, the years put in to get to a point where they think, you know, must be nice. But, you know, there was tons of hours that were unpaid, you know,
Right.
unchecked, lots of falling down and getting back up. It's not straightforward, or everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
But yeah, I think that covers a lot of what it takes to invest, what it takes to be successful. And kind of side note, you know, it doesn't have to be real estate. You can have your own niche. Let's say you flip cars on Facebook Marketplace. You can make that work. I've seen a lot of people do it. You know, just find what you want to do, find what you love, find what you're good at, and stick with it. But I think that covers our episode for today on how to invest. And Jay, do you have anything else to add?
Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. It's a free way to help us, and it goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll thank our title sponsor for today's episode, Collier Title Company. If you need deed prep, title work, closings, and more, they're located in Brandenburg, E-Town, and Louisville. You can call them at 270-763-6589. And then for this week's sponsor, We Buy Houses, we can offer cash, close in as little as 2 weeks. If you want a quote on your